important. Most bare metal solutions take transactionally inconsistent snapshots of data. Show of hands, who here knows what I'm talking about? So when I talk about transactional consistent snapshot, does everybody on the line understand what I'm talking about by that, or should I explain it? I've got some questions here. Chris Lee says, are mobile apps rebrandable? Chris, they're generically brandable, so it's not a full white label, but they're generically brandable, so you can host it in the App Store under your own name. Tony says, for unlimited file versions, we're still paying for the archiving space used, correct? Not really, Tony. You pay for the initial size of the file, so we don't charge you for versions. We just eat the cost of that. So if it's a 1 meg file you put in the cloud, you lose 1 meg of your cloud space until you delete it. Now, if there are 1 million versions of that file, you still only pay for 1 meg of cloud space. And then got a bunch of people requesting I explain transactionally consistent snapshots. Okay, so this applies to databases, which frankly is the most valuable data that your customers are backing up, and database backups where you can charge thousands of dollars a year, so it's pretty important. Databases work with transactional patterns. The simplest example is imagine that, just picking on an audience member, imagine that Chris Lee transferred $1 million to me. That's going to be 2 separate database entries. We're going to deduct $1 million from Chris Lee's account, and we're going to add $1 million to my account. So that's the transactional concept. Let's turn to snapshotting. When you take a bare metal disk image, there are 2 types of disk images you can create: a crash consistent disk image and a transactionally consistent disk image. Imagine that between the 2 transactions, so the $1 million has come out of Chris's account but is not yet in my account, and imagine that the power to the server died. Then on disk, you would then have a transactionally inconsistent situation. The $1 million has now vanished. It's out of Chris's account, it's not yet in my account. Most bare metal backup systems follow that exact pattern. They take a raw snapshot of the disk without regard to any transactions that might be occurring in a complex database application like Exchange or SQL. And it's the equivalent of ripping the power cable out of the server. A transactionally consistent snapshot, on the other hand, is one where the backup software will talk to the applications it recognizes, like Exchange or like SQL Server, tell that product to flush all its transactions to disk and hold initiating any new transactions, take the snapshot, and then release the hold. Basically what it means is the snapshot cannot occur in between Chris losing the $1 million and me getting the $1 million. So complex topic, but really, really, really important when it comes to application backup and recovery. And when you say take Carbonite's bare metal backup, for example, which they've recently released, it's not transaction consistent. It would be extremely bad business practice for you to install that on your customers' business applications or database applications, for example. Does that make sense? Jonathan asks, do you say social backup or mobile device backup is separate from ServerSave? Jonathan, social backup is separate to ServerSave, whereas mobile device backup is part of the ServerSave package. All right, so let's keep hammering on. Bare metal image streams. We're going to see most of this in the product demo. So comparing us to some other names in the industry, frankly, these are sort of more serious backup companies than Mozy or Carbonite. Zenith, Intronis, i365, which has now been rebranded back to eVault. There's a Seagate subsidiary. But from a functionality standpoint, the ServerSave product is head and shoulders against any of these solutions. Powering on, we recently released a 5.2 update, which is 40% faster. That's sort of the highlight of this slide. Our product wins a lot of awards, including a 4th consecutive PC Mag Editor's Choice. What else have we got here? Competitive landscape. I think we've actually gone through a lot of this. Yeah. Any of these slides show that you want to highlight?
I think I can sum it up in a few sentences. I mean, the bottom line is that if you've been selling file and folder backup, or maybe you've been selling other IT products, SOS ServerSave gives you a completely different feature set to resell to your clients. And since you mostly are reselling to SMBs, a lot of you guys said that you are reselling to SMBs, it'll be really, really valuable to them, and you'll be a complete one-stop shop for these customers.
And as you're comparing products, like a video of this presentation will be made available, and you can get the PowerPoint from any of the Jeff's partner specialists. But there's this grid here on slides 19 and 20, which is interesting, where it shows the different types of backup mobile, file folder, Exchange backup, SQL backup, bare metal, local backup, bare metal to the cloud, and then the different market segments, consumer, micro-business, SMB, enterprise laptop, fleets, enterprise servers. And the purpose of these slides is actually to show the progression of the SOS business over the 10 years we've been in it, from being sort of small business focused file and folder to now a company that has a technology footprint that looks like this. But when you're looking at any online backup solution, you can of course look at price, and you'll find that we're probably the cheapest solution on the market from a wholesale standpoint. Our retail price is a very, very different matter, but our cost to you is the lowest. But also just check anybody else you're looking at and see if they do have functionality in all these categories. Can they do Exchange backup, SQL backup, local bare metal backup to the cloud? And do they have offerings that allow you to sell to micro businesses as well as to enterprises? So we use this ourselves internally to sort of keep ourselves honest and keep looking at who are we competing with and who are we trying to beat in the market. And I think it's a really useful reference point for our customers and our existing partners.
Yeah. And also when you're shopping, make sure that you're not being charged extra fees for extra features. One of the great things about SOS ServerSave is that it's completely inclusive. All the things that we're talking about, social backup, bare metal, etc., are all included in one price.
Actually, not social backup.
Okay, sorry.
The one thing that's not included.
Sorry, guys, don't listen to me then.
No. Everything else is included. Sean's point's a very good one. You do get nickel and dimed a lot in the online backup industry. So with us, what you see is what you get. The pricing is very simple to understand, and all of this functionality just comes as part of the bundle. So any other questions on sort of program features and the reseller program before John Wagner fires up the product demonstration? Tom says, how much control does the end user have where the data is physically stored? Tom, end user's got no control, but you've got a lot of control. When you sign up as a partner, you can specify which data centers you want your customers' data stored in. Jonathan says, key advantages when competing with Mozy Pro. Well, I mean, Mozy Pro is a weak solution, Jonathan.
Also from a reseller perspective, it's a weak solution.
Yeah, they don't have a reseller program to speak of, but here's Mozy Pro, and here's the SOS functionality. Some obvious things they're missing: a bare metal backup, Exchange backup, granular recovery, SQL Server backup, mobile backup, any sort of true enterprise management and reporting functionality, although their centralized management portal's gotten a lot better. But the Mozy Pro product is pretty, it just doesn't compete well against the SOS ServerSave. It competes against that sort of consumer home user offering. Chris Lee says, how do your price points and features compare with Amazon S3? Well, Chris, S3 is not a backup service, it's a storage service. So if you're using S3, you have to go and build a backup application that connects to it. We've put more than $10 million into building our backup application, so it's not an easy thing to do. But from a cost standpoint, we're actually pretty much the same price. So with us, you get the storage, but you also get all the backup technology. With S3, you just get the storage. S3 is the equivalent of a hard disk drive, which is not the same thing as a backup solution. What else have we got here? Tony, do you market SOS ServerSave to businesses? Doesn't that compete with partners reselling? I assume partners' prices will not be beat if the customers go out and purchase it upon themselves. Tony, yes and no. We sell it directly, and we sell for $130 per month, and you can buy it from us for $35 per month. So, we're giving like a 75% discount, which is, in my opinion, extraordinarily generous. So from a margin standpoint, I'm not familiar with any other software reseller program that gives the sort of margin that we give away to our partners. And one other point I'd add is a lot of people mark up that price. A lot of people sell it at a higher price than $130 per month per server. So you're not restricted to that price point at all. But if you wanted to use our recommended price point, which is $130 per server, then you can buy from us for as little as $35. I've got that right? 35 is the...
It depends on the point of entry within the ServerSave program. And as Ken's saying, the average sell price for an average size server that we're seeing is in the $130, $140 a month, with that average server size being roughly 50 to 125 gigs. It starts moving north of that on the gig count, then so does that price to the end user facility. I've seen it as high as middle 500s for 150 150 gigabyte server, but that's on the high end of life, with really the median being around that 130, 140 range. So I think if you're in that spot, you're in a solid position, and certainly you will not be undercut with the SOS Direct solution. The lion's share of our revenue comes from our resale channel, and that is what we built the engine on to support, and that's really where we want to drive the business. It's much easier for us to reach out to 1,000 partners that have end reaches to 1 million end users than to us go to 1 million end users directly.
Yeah, but I mean, it's important that we stay in the retail market. Like, we get this question all the time, Tony, and I think it's very important for the company to stay selling direct to the public, because we've got to then take the best learning that we can extract and give it to our entire partner community. So with $130 price point, we set out to do two things. One, we wanted to have a killer retail price with a functionality set that makes the Symantec crew nervous, right? So we wanted to say for roughly $1,500 a year, we can give you a better backup solution than a backup exec deployment, which would cost $5,000 or $6,000 per year. At the same time, we wanted to have a ninja wholesale price point for our partners, so they could get 50 or more % margin. And I think we've nailed that, frankly. I think $130 per month per server is a great price point for your customers, and the fact that you can buy it from us for $35 per month, I think is great for partners. We had a question from Chris as to whether or not that includes storage, and Chris, yes, it does. That includes storage as well as the license seats for the endpoint.
And this is a really great time to bring up the fact that you guys may have noticed in your webinar invite email that now through March 30th, we are offering a free terabyte to partners that sign up. So you'll be able to make a lot of incremental revenue on that extra terabyte if you sign up before March 30th.
And I mean, again, the $130 thing, that's if you wanted to be extremely unimaginative and just take our stuff and push it out there under your brand. What most partners do is sell it as part of a bundled managed solution, where they'll then mark it up significantly. So we've got partners selling it for $500 per month per server, and that's definitely an outlier. I wouldn't want you to think that's what you can always sell it for, but that is being done successfully. So yeah, the 130 would be sort of your worst case scenario. Question from Ryan on the bare metal backup side. Is this also supported for Mac and restorable? No bare metal for Mac at this point, Ryan. So we do have file folder for Mac, but no bare metal. All right, well, with that, we might turn to the product demo. So John, can we? Sure, yeah. Ryan asked also, will we ship a drive? Yeah, Ryan, we will. So we'll, you can either send drives to us to feed the backup set, and in the case of a meltdown on your end, we can send the data back to you via FedEx overnight as well.
Okay, so I'm just going to log into this demo server. Just give me one moment.
Chris has got another question. Is there an opportunity to offer the service of bulk loading by the reseller? Chris, yes. I mean, you could definitely talk to us about that. You would send that drive on to us, so you could sell it to your customers for whatever price you liked, and then have us actually do the work and the upload, and you'd send it to us, and we'd then do it.
I'm just getting logged in. One more minute.
It might be good to start with the partner dashboard.
Yeah, I usually do.
Okay.
Okay, so hopefully we can see the screen okay. Let's see, it looks a little small. All right, it looks a little small. I'm just going to make the size bigger for you guys. Feel free to answer. Go ahead and ask any more questions if you have any.
So Jeff, maybe this would be a good opportunity for you to talk about some of the promotions you're running this month.
Yeah, we're looking at a few different promotions, and really we're closing in on the end of just a terrific quarter for us over here at SOS, and again, the reason why that is because of our partnership channel. So we came up with a few different things that we thought would really incent prospective partners coming on board and also existing partners to help get out there and increase their profitability. So one thing for existing partners, we're looking at various incentives as far as upgrades with 20%, discounts off of space. We have different incentives for new partners, including moving to an additional tier for only an additional $100. So let's say you come in at a ServerSave 5 at $399, you can get a ServerSave 10 for just $100 more, and there's a cost savings associated with that. We have a few different options, and what I would very highly recommend is once we're done with the webinar, contact your partner specialists and ask them about that, as well as making sure any additional questions are answered. And we would be happy to walk you through that. The biggest thing is showing you how well and how easily this thing can be profitable and how scalable it is. In looking at Jonathan out there, I think you realize, sir, that this is something that is meaningful. Just signing up and come back to us, I believe 3 times now, or 2-3 times, with some additional requirements. So that's tremendous. That's exactly what we're looking for. And through these promotions for the end of the quarter, as a way of saying thank you for another tremendous quarter, we want to help make it easier.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff. So I'm assuming all of you can see the screen okay. What I've first pulled up on the screen is our dashboard. So this is a website that you can go to from any computer, and you go to dashboard.sosonlinebackup.com, and you log in using your partner credentials. So this dashboard is supposed to be, a central place that you can kind of control your business with us as far as creating accounts, managing accounts, upgrading, downloading our ServerSave installer executable,
delivering support to your customers.
Yep. Also, we have the Central Management Portal beta that we're going to show you as well. So one thing I want to point out that we just added this new is we have this updates and news and partner rebrand resources. This is where we're going to give you current information or updates. One thing that was new is we added this new partner support hotline. It goes to a group that is dedicated just for partner support. So it's great for, if you need some setup help with the product, or maybe you need some, how do I create a user account, things like that.
And that's now American-based support for partners. So frontline support for partners is here in America, and only level 2 and level 3 will go offshore. So, that was one of the big pieces of feedback we got from partners, was they really love American onshore help. So we've just deployed that with this new hotline.
Okay, so then what we have here, kind of in the middle, online backup recovery, this is where you would first go to create a backup account for one of your customers. And after doing so, you would then go down to the bottom here, and if that customer wanted to back up their server as an image and also get the Exchange ground recovery, you would go and assign that username to one of the available license keys. And then after you do that, you'd be able to go click on this green button here and download the ServerSave executable and install and license the product. So we'll go through all that in just a minute. So the first thing I'm going to do here, guys, I'm going to go and add an account.